Imagine you're driving your car down the road and you stop to fiddle with the radio dial for a second. You weren't paying attention, and the car veered a little bit, and the passenger mirror clipped on a pole and it just totally blew off. Your passenger mirror is destroyed. So you stopped the car, you got out, you looked at the damage, and you're like, oh. So you get back in the car, you back the car up, you steer towards the pole, and you smash the car again. And now the headlights are bashed out, and you're like, oh my gosh, this car, it's just getting so trashed. So you get back in the car, back it up, and you smash it again, and you keep backing the car up and smashing into again and again and again until the car is completely destroyed. So this is something that perfectionism and yo-yo mentality, it might sound comical, but how many times do we do this when we didn't do it perfectly? So we abandon the whole thing, and we actually might even make it worse. Okay, so here are some ways to recognize if you're actually stuck in this mindset. First of all, the first question to ask yourself is, what in your life have you ever done perfectly? Just think about it. What in your life that is important that you've accomplished was done perfectly with no deviation and there was never anything to learn? Okay, probably not much. So knowing that, let's dive into a little bit of self-love here. If you're using the words cheat or I'll allow myself, this is an indicator that your brain and your habits might not be completely lined up. There's no such thing as cheating. There's no such thing as skating under the radar. It's just you. You're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes. If you've set a goal and it's for anyone but yourself, first of all, you're probably doing it from a strange space, but those goals are for you and you can't cheat yourself. Just be honest. Be honest with yourself. When you hear that little voice coming in saying, oh, I'm going to have a cheat day, or, you know, if I eat this super fast, the carbs won't matter, anything like that. So notice those words. And also another strategy or another indicator is if you're setting a goal and you haven't done it perfectly, your decision, instead of going back and trying again, is saying, oh, well, there must be a new strategy. So we might see this sometimes for people who jump from gym to gym or diet to diet or relationship to relationship. The problem lies in maybe finding a new strategy, right? Because there's got to be another way to do this perfectly. But really, the strategy is just go back, try again. It's not going to be perfect, and just keep putting your effort into that. Do you often have the thought, I'll be happy when? Are you looking towards the future for some payoff? Is there something that needs to happen in the future for you to be happy? Or are there things that you're happy with now? If you aren't able to be happy in the moment because you're waiting for something to happen, that can also trigger yo-yo mentality. Are you obsessed with black and white thinking? Is there any room for deviation? If you came to me and you wanted to set an exercise plan and it was going to be 4 days a week for 45 minutes, and I told you, hey, is it okay if there are some days when that doesn't happen? Ask yourself, is that okay? Is that something that you have allowance for? Or is your thinking so black and white that if you can't do it every single day, it's not worth doing at all? So be aware of black and white thinking for this, because things will come up. Life is crazy. We've got trips, we've got parties, we've got events. You might sleep in. Is it worth doing even if it's not perfect? Are you obsessed with the timeline of reaching your goal? Let's say you set a goal, you want to go to the gym and you want to be able to bench press a certain amount. And it has to be by 2 months from now because there's this competition and you have to win this competition, or whatever it's going to be. Do you have a weight loss goal where I have to be at this certain weight by my reunion? Timeline thinking is yo-yo thinking. So being obsessed with this timeline can really slow you down and take away joy from the journey and give you black and white. It's okay to have a timeline, but don't be obsessed with it. It's just part of your plan and part of your process. The goal and the day that you set, it's just a benchmark on your way to the place. But whether or not it happens by that date is not the biggest thing. And here's an important question. Do you find that there's value in self-loathing? Is there some self-hatred or self-loathing you're holding on to because you think it's useful to help you move forward? Do you feel like if you don't tell yourself that you don't look good enough, is that going to motivate you to make changes in some way? If you feel like you're not smart enough, is that going to motivate you to maybe go to school and study these other things? Your self-loathing, though, it is not sustainable, because what happens is you feel bad, you feel really bad, and that motivates you to do something, and you start feeling better, and you start feeling better, you're getting stronger, healthier, happier, and the motivation of that self-loathing starts to ease up as you start making healthy changes. But now that that motivation is gone, there's nothing to keep you moving forward. So you tip back into self-loathing. Versus if your motivation was just you want to feel good all the time, or you're excited or you're happy, that motivation, it's always there. It'll keep moving you forward. If every day from the start you're motivated by what you love about yourself and what you're excited about versus what you hate, that is very, very sustainable. And something for me I found is, are you streak obsessed? If you miss a day, does that freak you out? I just recently had an experience. I had been meditating every single day since January 21st, and I was really excited, and I was counting this streak, right? But then something happened a few days ago, and I just forgot, and I missed a day, and I immediately felt defeated. I was like, oh, I blew my streak. And it was way less motivating for me that day to go and meditate because I had lost my streak. But you know what? I had a quick little chat with myself, and I reminded myself, you weren't doing it for the streak. You were doing it for the mindfulness. You actually get value out of this every single day you do it. So watch out for those streak obsessions. So yo-yo dieting, yo-yo health, yo-yo habits, all these different things. These are some things you can look for to just start noticing if you're in that mindset. Now, how does this tie into perfectionism? I think it actually ties in very, very well. If you are someone who's a perfectionist, you might be more prone to yo-yo habits or yo-yo mentality. And some ways that you can start overcoming this perfectionism. First of all, ask yourself that question, what in life have I done perfectly? And the second question is, if it's not done perfectly, is it still worth doing? And be really real with yourself about your answer to that question. Benchmarks of what a perfectionist mindset person might look like is perfectionists tend to not take criticism very well. They take it very personally. And so something that you can practice if you notice you have this perfectionist mentality is start asking for outside feedback. Start asking for maybe even constructive criticism. If you haven't ever worked with a coach or an accountability buddy, talk to someone who can give you some feedback. And are you willing to ask for that? I've been trying to work on just getting better about asking people around me, saying, hey, this is something I've been working on. Based on your perspective, is there anything that you see that you think could be helpful for me? And really sitting myself back in a place of humility and accepting that feedback. It helps me with my perfectionist mentality. It helps me realize there's things all around that I can be growing into. Also, perfectionists tend to be procrastinators. There's all different levels of procrastination. Some of it's healthy and not harmful at all. But if you notice you're putting off doing something because you don't feel like you're enough yet, you don't feel like you're smart enough, you're good enough, you're strong enough, this is a benchmark of procrastination thinking or perfectionist thinking. So think about, is it okay if I start and it's messy? Is it okay if actually the first week is the messiest part? It might get easier and easier the further I go versus it has to start perfect. So flip that thinking on its head. Also, being outcome based versus process based can slow you down quite a bit. If you are really focused on what you're trying to achieve versus what you're doing daily to achieve it, that can slow you down. So whatever your goal is, make sure that there are really small daily chunks of things that you can do every single day that are process-based that lead you up to that goal. So if your goal is to hit a certain body fat percentage through working out at the gym, what is your daily process that you can put your energy into? Whether that's just getting to the gym, getting to your workout, or maybe it's tracking your nutrition so that you can get your body composition where you want it. If you can't make it to the gym, is it just taking that 10-minute walk? Come up with something small and daily that supports your goal, but is a more daily thing that you can actually put your energy into. And this leads into SMART goals. Are your goals SMART? Have you heard of this acronym? SMART goals, think of it, S-M-A-R-T, and that stands for smart or specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. Yeah, I think that's it, S-M-A-R-T. So SMART goals are very, very honed in. They're very dialed in. It's a super specific goal. Whatever you want to do, make sure it's very specific so that you know your next step. So rather than say, I want to get healthy, the goal might be, I want to get my A1C to a certain level so that I don't have to take medications anymore. Is it measurable? Is it something that you can be tracking? So in my prior example, you can track your blood sugars every day. Or if it's a gym goal, you can track your body composition, or you can track the amount of weight you're lifting. Is it achievable? Is this realistic for you? If you're someone who wants to get off medications for high blood pressure, but it's actually just genetic and it's not even nutritional related, that's probably not an achievable goal. If you want to be looking like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, is that an achievable goal for you? Are we all actually built like that? So that leads into realistic. Are your goals realistic? Is this something that actually is a kind goal for you to put out for yourself? It is not realistic for me to have a goal to have like visible thigh muscle definition. It's just not. My body's not built that way. I hold my fat on my thighs. No matter how much I work out, like I'm never really going to see those muscles unless I super starved myself, which I'm not going to do. So every now and then I have this thought pop into my head of, oh, I want to be able to be so fit that I can see all my leg muscles. It's not really realistic, so I let that one go. And then timely. Putting timelines on your goals that don't give you undue pressure. Is it realistic to say, I want to win this 5K that I'm competing in a month, but I just started running today? No, it's not. Is it realistic to say you would like to finish a 5K in a month if you never have? Absolutely. Is it realistic to say, I want to get to my high school weight? You know, I've been eating unhealthy for this long and I want to be there in 2 months. But maybe you've got 30 pounds to lose. Is that realistic? No. It is realistic to say, I want to see progress on the scale or the tape measure every month as I move toward this goal. Yes. So the biggest thing, though, that comes to your aid when you're trying to overcome yo-yo mentality, perfectionist mentality, is making sure that you are doing this from a place of extreme self-love. So we talked about that yo-yo of doing things because of your pain point versus what you're excited about. It is very important that every day through the process of moving towards your goal, you are giving yourself credit and love and affirmation for the things you are doing correct. Because yes, there's going to be tough days. You're not going to do things perfectly. Things aren't going to go as expected. But when that happens, what is your base for how you know that you're already showing up? When I wake up in the morning, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I look in the mirror, and every morning I try to send myself something positive, something loving, whether it's something silly like, hey, you've got a great smile, or hey, I'm proud of you for getting out of bed today, or hey, you're a great mom. You know, tell yourself something amazing. You can do it, you know, verbally, you can write these down, but for every one point of criticism that you want to give yourself, and again, criticism can be helpful, have at least 3 things that are positive that you really are propping yourself up for. So, hey, it's fine. I've been slacking a little bit and I know I want to get more dialed in with my exercise, so I'm going to make a goal to exercise more. But you know what? I'm really proud of the fact that my legs are really strong and I can go up the stairs without huffing and puffing. I actually am really proud of the fact that I've been focusing more on my sleep and I have more energy. I'm really proud of the fact that I've talked to other friends and I'm creating a network of support and that I'm using my support system. So buffer those criticisms, those desires to grow with everything you're already doing. Send yourself that self-love. And hopefully this has been helpful to help you start recognizing if you're using yo-yo mentality, if you're using perfectionist mentality as a way to grow. And maybe this helps explain why that's been leaving you feeling stuck. My name is Sarah Starr. I do weekly webinars on healthy habits, mindsets, accountability, growth. You can find me at sarahstarcoaching.com. I do group and weekly sessions. If you have questions on this, reach out. Also check in the comments section for the worksheet that accompanies this. Every Monday, there's a new lesson and a new worksheet. So get pen to paper, print it out, answer the questions on that worksheet to help you really process what we talked about in today's lesson and make it yours. Make it yours. But most of all, I'm proud of you for being on. I'm proud of you for working on yourself. And I hope you have a wonderful day.